Welcome to another brand new episode of Undisputed Nerds. I am one of your hosts, Zane Taicho, but you may think I might be Nicolas Cage because I'm wearing a mask. Whoa. This is the podcast where we talk about movies, comic books, and everything else in between. As always, I am joined by my fantastic co-host, Nicolas Cage. I mean, the gentlemanly gamer.
It's me, everyone. Hello, everyone in Radio Land. Welcome in. Yes. This evening, this is a reference for only English people will understand. This evening, Matthew, I'm going to be Nicolas Cage. For those of you who are not watching, if you check out our YouTube channel, you will see what we are doing. We're being idiots because my brother fantastically made us Nick Cage masks to go and see the film this evening, which we'll talk about soon. But how are you, Zane? How's things?
I'm doing well, thank you. Yeah, not too shabby. How about yourself?
I haven't spoken to you much this week, actually. I haven't spoken to you since that. Well, it's a wrestling thing, so we won't talk about it on this podcast. But since that thing happened on Wednesday, that announcement, I thought for sure you'd be the first one to text me. But once again, Zane Taicho has left me out in the cold, ladies and gentlemen. I am heartbroken and just wandering alone, lost in the podcasting woods.
Wow. Yeah, to be fair, it has been a busy week for me. Yeah, I won't go into too much detail.
No, please don't. We don't care about your personal life. Let's move on quickly.
It's not so much the personal life. It's the other podcasts that we all know that's not worth mentioning here.
Oh, I see. Oh, what is your other podcast, Zane? You might as well plug it now now that you brought it up.
So, Undisputed Anime, we had a episode go live this week, and we're also attending the Cardiff Anime Convention this Sunday.
I've been asking him to go to a Comic-Con with me somewhere, and what does he do? He turns around and goes to an anime con without, showing where his true loyalty lies, listeners. It's the slow beginning of the end, but there you go. Let me just take my jacket off because my blood's starting to boil. Yes, getting a fiery fury. No, that's good. I hope you have a nice time at the anime con. It's a good opportunity for Undisputed Anime to finally become the lead podcast, as it's been lagging behind for so long.
I mean, it's been the B show for quite some time now, hasn't it?
Wow, he said it, folks. He said it. Can we get that on tape? It is on tape. Yes, fantastic. No, it'd be good. So, guys, if you're attending the Anime Con in Wales, go and meet Zane Taicho, the man, the myth, the one who brings it all together, the legend that he is. But yeah, so nothing else this week. Nothing else been happening.
I listened back to a few of our old episodes as well. I've been updating our website, UndisputedNerds.com. Yeah,
I've just remembered I've got a story to tell you that I didn't tell last week on the Fantastic Beasts review.
Okay.
You've updated our website, have you?
I've been going through and updating it, cataloging our episodes, creating links and stuff. So if you want to see more about a specific episode, you'll find the YouTube video and the audio version on that specific page. So it's a work in progress. Not all of it's there just yet, but it's worth checking out just in case.
So you guys are getting a little behind the scenes curtain here as the kind of tech wizard that Zane is, whereas I'm to steal a phrase from a friend of mine, I'm just the talent that comes along and does this thing with him. So this week, right? So we didn't talk about it last week in the Fantastic Beasts podcast, but I went to see Fantastic Beasts with my wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a similar thing, I guess, with tonight. But so we were sitting like quite close to the back,
right?
And the row in front of us, right? See if this would annoy you, right? Because it really annoyed me, Zane. Like, it really annoyed me. And I don't know whether I should be justified in that. Listeners or viewers, write in and let us know if you would have been annoyed by this, right? So the film starts, and these guys, I would say they were probably in their like maybe late teens, early 20s. They come in and they populate the row in front of us. So there's like 5 or 6 of them. I think it was guys and girls. So I think them and their partners. Irrelevant.
Sure.
The one guy on the end who's sitting in front of my wife, right? During the trailer, he has his phone out and he's playing a game on his phone. Okay.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, I guess he doesn't want to watch the trailers. He just wants to play the game on his phone, right?
Sure.
And then the film starts. And he's still playing the game on his phone.
Wow.
And we get 25 minutes into the film, Zane, before one of his mates tells him, "Mate, put your phone away. Put your phone away."
What?
And it's like if you're looking at the screen, and then down here you can just see
there's a bright
game.
light.
Yeah, there's a bright light with a game being played. It's really distracting. And I was like, my wife had to put her hand on my thigh because I was literally just about to lean forward and just go, "Can you turn your effing phone off, please?" It drives me nuts, man. It drives me.
Yeah.
Would that have driven you mad in the cinema? Would it?
Absolutely. I think the closest experience I had to it is when I was living with my housemates, we decided to go to see a Thor sort of omnibus. Like it
Very
was
nice.
Thor 1 and 2, essentially. I think it was
Ragnarok as well, was it?
I think this was the release of Thor 2. So they played the first movie and went straight into the second, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Yes, I do know what you mean.
But for some reason, someone...
Is that similar to the Man of Steel, Batman v Superman experience that you and I shared?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, for some reason, someone was on their phone during rewatching the first Thor movie, and one of my housemates just spent the whole time just throwing sweets at them. To obviously, if you're going to be that, like, if it kind of creates that energy, doesn't it, in the theater?
It's just so rude. Like, I hate it. I hate that, and I hate like people who leave your phones on in the cinema. Turn your phones off. It's not hard. It's really not difficult to turn your phone off when you're watching a screen. Like, just don't do it. Like, if you want to do the odd comment to your mates next to you, that's fine. Like, it happens. I do that when nerd stuff happens with you, or I absolutely wet myself laughing when we watch Morbius. But like, don't, you know what I mean? Don't be on your phone.
Yeah.
Listeners, viewers, write in. Please let us know if it really annoys you if people do that in the cinema. The same way it really annoys me, because it really annoys me.
I get annoyed just from my smartwatch lighting up during the movie. Like, I turn it off now because it was something
Get annoyed by yourself.
Well, it's not me, but my digital device. That's an extension of me, I guess. But yeah,
you've got a real rage problem, buddy. Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. I just turn my phone off now whenever I'm in the cinema. It's like, it's an automatic rule for me. It's like, trailers come up, phone goes off, in my pocket. That's it. I'm focused on whatever's going on the screen for the next however many hours it's going to be. But yeah, I forgot to tell it on last week's podcast, and I wanted to say it this week because obviously we've been to the cinema again tonight, and it reminded me.
Yeah,
a guy was the most annoying thing, Zane. Honestly, I'm glad you weren't there with me because I think you might have actually like kicked off. You might have thrown your Fitbit at him.
Yeah,
the ultimate combo rage. Right, you're
2 for 1. Yeah.
Anyway, what are we talking about this week, Zadie boy?
This week we will be giving our reactions to the new Nicolas Cage movie. This is quite a long title, so I'm bound to like mess this up. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
That is correct. That is it exactly. Yes, the unbearable weight of massive talent. I kept calling it acting talent, the unbearable weight of acting talent, but it is unbearable weight of massive talent. Yeah. So yeah, we'll be doing a full review and spoilers of that, guys. So if you haven't seen it yet, it literally just came out tonight. If you haven't seen it, then maybe watch the news and then pause, go and watch it, and come back to us. But well, before all that, we run into a bit of a dilemma, don't we, Zane? Because we normally have 2 regularly recurring segments. So we've got tips and bits, which we're going to do, but we also have What's All the Rage with Nicolas Cage. Now, we here at the Undisputed Nerds Podcast, we adore Nicolas Cage, and we didn't want to, but you never want to overdo it on the Cage. So technically, What's All the Rage with Nicolas Cage will be the movie review today.
I think that's only fair.
I think it is only fair. So we're going to roll straight into this week tips and bits. So we've got a bit more.
Just before you go into tips and bits,
yes,
before, I've got a really nice surprise for you. Okay. Are you ready?
Do you wait? Hang on. What have you done? I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything?
No, I can't hear anything. What have you done, Zane? Is the surprise not hearing my voice?
Bits, chips, and bits. Come on, everybody! It's chips and bits. There you go.
There you go.
You made us a theme tune.
Do you want it one more time?
Yeah, go on then.
Bits, chips, and bits. Come on, everybody! It's chips and bits. There you go.
Jesus Christ. Just when I thought our show couldn't get any more low budget. That's lovely, Zane. Thank you very much. If anyone wants to take that and put an audio track on the back of it, then please, by all means, do and send it back into us. Thank you for that, Zane. That was a very lovely surprise, I think. Zane, what do we like to do in our tips and bits session? What do we always like to do? What's the thing I take the mick out of you constantly for saying?
Constantly saying? I mean, it's usually just my English in general, to be honest. So...
I believe it's something to do with like like a bit of an accoutrement that goes on a dinner table.
Wow.
Forget it. I'll just tell him. We're going to salt and pepper in this week some comic books and some games. So normally we just talk about movies and TV, but this week we're going to kind of salt and pepper in some comics and some games. Ooh. So interesting news coming out of the Disney Fox acquisition. So obviously we all know that Disney now owns X-Men, it now owns Fantastic Four. We know those properties will be adopted by Marvel one day. However, some of the lesser talked about stuff that also Disney bought are Alien, as well as Predator, which are more big-time franchises. Now, the last time we saw Predator was the, let's just say, how many minutes have we gone? 12. Crap. Predators. So it was very disappointing, that film, considering it was directed by Shane and written by Shane Black as well. It was very disappointing. Anyway, Marvel are rebooting the Predator franchise a little bit in comic books. So it's going in July. They're finally going to launch their Predator series. The remorseless alien killer will embark on a new hunt. It's written by the writers of Iron Fist and Dr. Aphra, which I have not read. And essentially, it basically kicks off with like this young girl, her family slaughtered by the Predator. Years later, she's a sailor and her ship's holding together, and food is running short. And it's all this kind of like spaceways stuff. And it sounds super interesting. It does sound very, very interesting. But it looks like it's kind of because normally what happens is they normally throw comic books out there to test run to see what the interest is in the market and if there is interest for, this franchise. I personally speaking, I think that Alien and Predator both deserve quite a lot of love because they have not been treated very well over the last 15 years. So I'm excited to see a new Predator series. Are you excited to see Marvel Comics adopting Predator? And do you think live action movie or TV series is going to follow?
Yeah, certainly. It's I mean, we've said it before, IP that has a nostalgia element to it always does well. And not only does it do well in terms of getting off the grounds, but expand into more, like you say, TV, video games, etc. So I'm excited for them to kind of go back to the well. I think it'd be really good to kind of get some new eyes, some new hands on it as well. Kind of like, we seen what James Gunn did with Guardians. James Gunn was like, dare I say, a horror sort of director before that.
Kind of black comedy horror, but yeah. So I think it'd be good to kind of just get like some new directors on it and stuff and see what they could do with it. Also, I'm just going to point this out because as soon as you said it was like on a ship, there's a great YouTube channel called Comic Pop, and there's a guy on it called Sal, and he always pitches this idea for Predator to take place on like a pirate ship. So it's like this thing that's happening on the pirate ship that no one knows until the very last minute it's a Predator, and it just sounds incredibly bonkers, but so bonkers it might actually work. Somebody was saying that they should do that with Terminator. So have the
really?
Terminators go back further into the past. I think it was on the Weekly Planet or something like that. It might have been that I was listening to.
Yeah.
But they were saying, yeah, go back to like the Wild West. So have a Terminator in the Wild West, and like then you have to really come up with inventive ways of killing it. You know what I mean? It's not like a straightforward like, oh yeah, I'll just blow it up or whatever. Like it's actually you have to like really, really think of stuff. And it would be cool having a Terminator in the Wild West. It would be a cool idea. But they said play around with history, like play around with it in medieval times, or where like you have to smash it with a boulder or some stuff. But like it's it's an interesting thought. But yeah, I'm excited to see more Predator, so hopefully it translates. But still sad that we're never going to see that Batman versus Predator live action that I was hoping for one day. But there you go. So keeping with the salt and peppering, we're going to talk some games. This one caught my eye this week, as it is one of my favorite games of all time. But Deadline is reporting that following the success of Sonic the Hedgehog, Sega is now developing a live-action Streets of Rage film with Derek Kolstad penning the script. The reason why that's exciting, and the reason why Derek Kolstad is exciting, he is the same person who wrote Nobody and John Wick.
Okay, yeah.
So Streets of Rage, I don't know about you, Zane. It was one of my favorite games ever. Streets of Rage 2 specifically for me, one of my favorite games ever growing up. It's kind of, it had a recent recurrence with Streets of Rage 4, which was released on Games Pass. Zane, you need to get it. And it's amazing. Streets of Rage 4 was really good. The whole franchise is excellent. It's an amazing game. Do you think it will translate well into live action, or do you think we'll see another Double Dragon situation where it didn't necessarily translate so well?
Double Dragon.
Yeah, you still haven't seen that, have you? I need to send you through. I was going to send that through to you.
Interesting. Yeah, because I think the only way it would translate well is if you were to do kind of like The Boys or Warriors or something, like 80s vibe sort of street gang warfare is the only... is how I imagine it.
Maybe. Well, I guess the whole premise of it is that like it's a crime boss who's sent the entire city after them, after these heroes. So it's literally a Streets of Rage because everyone wants to kill them. That's the whole idea behind it. But yeah, I don't know how that would translate. You're right. I don't know how. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, maybe The Boys where they're like an underground kind of thing and they're striking. But yeah. I just love that. I can't get enough of that Shiva fight from Streets of Rage 2. It's amazing.
Okay.
It's right towards the end. Right before you fight Mr. X, you have to fight his henchman Shiva, and it's incredible. Like the music is amazing. Sorry.
I was going to say the real question is, when are they going to do a live action Golden Axe?
Oh, God's sake. When are they going to do a live action Altered Beasts? That's what I want to know.
That'd be nightmare and fueling.
When are they going to do a live action Echo the Dolphin? So let's just go really wild with it. I think actually I was thinking about that. Smash TV would be quite a good adaptation as well. Smash TV was like it's like a top down. They've kind of done it already with other things like The Running Man and stuff like that. But it was basically like two guys who were put into it. It was like a top down GTA style, from GTA 1 and 2. And you put in an arena and you have to shoot the hell out of everything that comes at you. But it was like presented as a game show, so you could like earn prizes for killing more. It was a bit controversial. But there you go. So moving on to let's do some Sony news. So sad news this week. I know that you covered it on our Instagram account. The not the Amazing Spider-Man. What am I talking about? Spider-Man Enter the Spider-Verse has been put back until 2023. Sad news. It's the one good thing that Sony has produced Spider-Man wise that hasn't had the MCU involved. I haven't got the reasoning as behind why it was pushed back, but I'm sure you can fill us in a little bit more, Zane. But yeah, it's sad news, man. I'm disappointed to see that, and I'm looking forward to seeing the sequel when it does eventually come out. What are your thoughts on this one?
It's a shame because this is, I believe, the third time that they've changed dates. look, if they need more time, I'm happy for them to take it, because it's been such a fantastic movie, and I can only imagine the sequel will be just as good. So yeah, if they need more time, give it to them.
Yeah.
Also, this is going to be done in parts as well. I can't remember if I read if it's like 2 parts, 3 parts, or maybe even 4 parts. So this is supposed to be like part 1 of a continuation.
Wait, what? I hadn't read that.
Mm.
What?
Yeah,
It's like
so
Into the Spider-Verse Part 1.
yeah. So there's, from the sounds of it, it's going to be like its own sort of series of movies. But yeah, the rumor
Oh, I
seems to
see
be...
what you mean. I found it. Yeah. So, highly anticipated sequel, Spider-Man Across the Spider, not Into the Spider-Verse, sorry, Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 has now been moved from October to June. It's coming out in June 2023, and then Part 2 will be in March 2024. Yeah. So, I can't believe they're calling it. So that the studio is now officially calling it the Spunker universe. Unbelievable. Spunker universe. They've announced that Madam Web is set to debut as well, firmly July 7th, 2023, apparently. So,
okay.
I mean, meh. but yeah. Well, I mean, I'm very sad about Across the Spider-Verse being put back, but I'm not really thrilled to see more from the Spunker universe moving forward. But let's see. Anyway, so moving on. So there's been some updates regarding one of the LucasArts, I almost called it then, Lucasfilm Star Wars series that is coming out that we haven't really talked about much here because there's not really been any information regarding it. But Star Wars The Acolyte, which has been announced and is coming out in the future. Apparently, the shooting is now expected to begin in late 2022. They've been casting. So the Illuminati, via sffgazette.com, they previously reported that Amanda Stenberg is going to play the Acolyte's lead, Arura. Arura. I'm not sure how to say that. But they've now shared details on 2 new supporting characters. The very inventively named Paul and Miri. So they've got a casting information here. So that Lucasfilm is said to be looking for a Caucasian actor in his 50s to play Paul, a series regular for just 1 season, suggesting this won't just be a limited series, which is quite interesting in the first instance. They're also looking for a young black girl for Miri, though she'll be between 8 and 10 years old and is actually described as a lead guest star. My guess to that is Miri is the casting for Miri is like as a flashback Padawan for one of the main characters, and that's who she'll grow up to be. She'll grow up to be this acolyte, I would guess. As far as Paul's concerned, it might be the alien that was in that Simon Pegg movie. I'm not sure, but
played by Simon Pegg.
Yeah, so this is the latest information that we found out about the Acolyte, and also that the production is now set to begin shooting in October. It should finish by May, so we probably won't be seeing it until at least November 2023, sometime around there. Probably going to be new details about it at Star Wars Celebration. Speculate, Zane. What do you think the Acolyte is going to be about?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I could have sworn there was a rumor maybe last year about this being some sort of introduction to maybe into Darth or Bane, maybe Bane, the guy who created the Rule of Two.
Yeah, Darth Bane. Yeah, The leading theory is that it's an acolyte is it's normally they call it apprentice, but like it's supposed to be like a dark side apprentice, like so a Sith acolyte. It can be a follower of the dark side. Its rumor is that it's taking place during the final days of the High Republic era, so that would be that would be around that time. So it's not far off. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Darth Bane, so there's a rule of 2 in Star Wars that there can only be one master and one apprentice at any time in the Sith order, because if there are more than 2, the Sith end up killing each other and infighting, and it stops the Jedi from. It keeps the Sith from becoming what they should be. So the idea is that this rule of 2 was created thousands of years before Episode 1. And it is the lineage that eventually leads to Palpatine taking over the universe as the Emperor. So, so Darth Bane is the originator of this rule and comes up with the idea that because the dark side is so powerful, there should only be one master who can cover it and one apprentice who must challenge him at some point. And if the apprentice is strong enough to kill him, then that's great. He takes over. Otherwise, he was unworthy, and the master continues on. It's fascinating. For those of you who have not read, there's a book by Drew Karpyshyn, which is I think it's Dynasty of Evil, which is the first one. It's a trilogy of books all about Darth Bane and his like rise to power. It's amazing. It's absolutely incredible.
The audiobooks are really good as well.
Yes, they are really good. I'd also recommend reading Darth Plagueis as well, by the way, which is the prequel novel to Episode 1, which talks about how Palpatine became, like, Darth Sidious became who he is, and because Plagueis was his master beforehand. So you learn more about Darth Plagueis, and then you learn how he recruited Sheev Palpatine and how Palpatine became Darth Sidious as well. It's a very interesting read. I can lend it to you at some point if you want, Zane. It's very good. It's very good. But yeah, anyway, interested to see what's going on with the Acolyte. I am looking forward to that. So moving on, we've got more Disney news. So obviously we all know that Obi-Wan Kenobi is coming, guys. He is on the way. He's going to be doing lots of deserty stuff and then maybe going off world. Who knows? But we'll find out on May 27th. This is good news for me. I'm very happy to read this. But the same composer, Natalie Holt, who composed Loki, will also be composing Obi-Wan. I personally think one of the strongest things of the Loki TV series was its music. I can listen to that soundtrack. Like that, one of the songs on that thing does things to me emotionally. Like there's a Frigga song where from his mother, which the strings in that are amazing, Zane. So knowing that she's going to be doing the Star Wars, the Obi-Wan series is fantastic. I'm super hyped about that. What are your thoughts on this? Happy to see the same kind of crossover between the Marvel and Star Wars universe musically, anyway.
Yeah, certainly. It's interesting considering the composer who has done Mandalorian and Book of Bob, Ludwig. I can't remember his first name. Has been fantastic, but he's been doing a load of other stuff recently. Like he not only had worked on those projects, historically speaking, he worked on Black Panther. He worked on quite a lot of Marvel as well as Pixar movies like Turning Red, Big Red.
Yep, Turning Red. I think it. Yeah, Turning Red. Is that the? Hang on, you got me confused now. I just saw an article about that, actually, about the running theory that Boo from Monsters, Inc. is the lead character in that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a fan theory. I think somebody's just addressed it. What was the name of that film? That's going to drive me crazy. Go on, sorry.
But yeah, he's been almost like Disney's composer for everything recently. As I say, from Star Wars to Marvel to Pixar.
He's like their Danny Elfman, basically.
Yeah, I'd say so. Or, Warner Brothers' Hans Zimmer.
Yes.
So,
sense.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's not on it. But, hey, if they're going to, increase talent, I'm here for it.
Sorry. I'm just looking for that thing, and I'm just like scrolling through like Twitter and Facebook and stuff, and I've just seen this picture where it's like somebody's written on the thing, every day I'm proven more and more correct that Star Wars fans don't want a good story, they just want things to be badass. And it is a link to a story where somebody's put can you imagine if they had done this scene in the original trilogy? That would have been insane. Now, I will describe the scene in a second. I'm going to show it on camera right now. So,
okay.
Can you see that, Zane?
Pull it out slightly so it can focus.
It is Obi-Wan using all of the stormtroopers' blaster rifles against them, protecting Han and Luke.
Wow.
No, guys, that would have been terrible, just for the record. Yeah, that is that is a keen insight into the world today, is that we just want big bangs. We don't actually care about story anymore, but there you go. Yeah, anyway, sorry. Yeah, I think I love Natalie Holt's work. I thought it was amazing on Loki, so I'm very excited to see her coming over for Obi-Wan, and I agree with you completely. But it is interesting that they're not using him for the guy you mentioned, who I can never remember the name of. They're not using him for this. They're just using her. But I guess everyone gets an equal opportunity to.
Yeah, he's probably got the busiest schedule as well, because like
he's probably doing Mando.
Yeah, that's true.
I like that. It is interesting though that the Boba Fett music and Mando was almost the same. It's just slightly like it's like loved it. Right. So this is some interesting news that's come up. So still going back a little bit to the Fox Disney acquisition.
Yeah.
Flip that, Disney Fox acquisition. Obviously, X-Men has been adopted by Disney, and we will be seeing them at some point. They definitely will be. But one of the old cast members of X-Men has shown a lot of interest in coming back.
Oh, really?
Yes. Would you like to guess which one? I'll give you a clue. It's a bad guy. And they were in the first one.
They were in the first one. Is it Ray Park?
No, it is not Ray Park. No. What happens when a toad gets hit by lightning? The same thing as everything else. Really? Really? Is he a conductor? No, it is Rebecca Romaine Stamos who played Mystique in the first 3 X-Men movies. Yeah. So this is the direct quote. So she was doing an interview with comicbook.com. She does doubt that the opportunity will arise, but this is her direct quote. I don't know if they would ever want me back. I mean, that was quite a few years back when I played that character, but I would love to come back. Yeah, absolutely. It was a fantastic franchise to be a part of. I'll love that cast until the day I die. We had a great time together, and yeah, I would absolutely be open to that. Now, the reason why this is a bit interesting is the fact that it seems from the trailers, so if you haven't seen the trailer for the upcoming Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, it seems that old Paddy Stewart has pulled off his gloves one more time. Paddy Stewart, that's right, old Paddy. Patrick Stewart is coming back as Professor X. So that presumably leaves the door wide open for the original Fox X-Men cast to come back. Hugh Jackman has famously said the only way he would ever be Wolverine again is if he was in the MCU. That is one of the famous quotes that he did when he was making Logan way back in the day, when there was no chance that was ever going to happen, and now it's actually happened. What do you think about this? Would you like to see Rebecca Romaine back? I mean, she didn't really have that much to do from what I can remember of the first 3 films. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's really interesting considering, like, out of all the cast members in that original trilogy, she had the most painstaking, like, makeup and prosthetics applied to her, like, something ridiculous, like 6 hours worth.
It was
of
8 hours, I think, in the first one.
Was it 8? Wow.
Yeah, I think so. And like she had those like contact lenses that go like all the way round the eye, so they really irritate.
I know to an extent, Jennifer Lawrence really hated it, and they've cut back on that a lot more, to the point where she was in like just a jumpsuit. Do you remember that? And like half the movie is just Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, exactly.
But CGI is a bit more of a thing nowadays as well, isn't it? So
they did get the makeup process down quite a lot, I think, by the second and third one. So it was better for her in the second and third one. But Again, it's the thing I have with the Fox franchises that so many of these characters just did not get enough playtime on screen. You know what I mean? Like they just didn't get, and she was one of them. So I'd like to see her come back as a variant, but not as the main event. I think that time has passed. I think she's right, but certainly, I'd like to see her come back.
Yeah.
So we've got two more bits of Marvel news, then we'll talk about some DC news, and then we're on to the film review. So, Josh Brolin, who is known for being not known for it, but like he was Thanos behind all the CGI and stuff. He was Thanos. He was asked. So he was on the Jess Cagle show doing an interview, and he was asked about his time as Thanos. And he also was asked about the fact that we've now seen a Thanos variant in What If. And so naturally the question came up about, is he going to reprise his role at some point? Is Thanos going to come back? And this was his quote. Marvel Studios has their own trajectory that they're worrying about. And if they want me to do it, I would do it, I'm sure. But I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what their plan is. We've kind of bookended this thing after 10 years. So I was happy and I love being involved in that so much because that wasn't the intention when I first got involved. The whole Thanos character, it was more of a cameo, and they liked the character so much. They had never felt like they had a villain that was substantial enough for what they were creating. And then I think they felt like they found it. And then there were 2 movies that kind of revolved around it. It was a lot of fun, and it worked out for them very, very nicely. It doesn't sound like it sounds like if they asked him, he'd do it, but it sounds like his time. Obviously Thanos dies at the end of Endgame. Spoilers, everyone.
Spoiler.
God almighty. If you haven't seen that by now, like, Jesus, where have you been? Have you been under a rock for the last 15 years? 3 years. What are your thoughts on that? I kind of, maybe as a cameo, as a variant, possibly, but like I'm kind of happy with the way Thanos's story ended up, and I don't think it's needed anymore. What do you think, Zane?
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because Thanos was a big bad for such a long time as well, 10 odd years to an extent.
It was eight. He appeared in Avengers in 2012.
Yeah, so it's a tough one, but some of the stuff they're doing at the moment in the comic books, where Thanos is part of the Eternals and is on this journey, it's some really good like stuff to kind of draw on, really, because he's kind of rediscovering not only himself but his part in as an Eternal, as a deviant and such. So yeah, it's some really clever writing, but it's kind of like, would we ever get to a stage where we need that? Because at the moment, we're kind of in the early phases of a new big bad. It's transitioning to a sort of new Kang era, isn't it? So,
yeah. Did you see Moon Knight this week?
I did see Moon Knight this week. Yeah,
it was interesting, wasn't it? A lot of Egyptian pharaohs. I'm just going to leave that there for anyone who's in the know for that. Yeah, I think the only way I would want them to bring back Thanos is if it's to escalate power. So if you bring him back to have him killed immediately by like something more powerful than him, just to show what the stakes are, where it's like, they bring back, like say it was a Galactus, right? And they bring back Thanos, and then Galactus just melts him like instantly. You know what I mean? Like just power cosmics him and just wipes him out. And then everyone's just like, that was like the most dangerous man in the universe, and you just beat him like as if he was nothing. Or I was thinking they should do the Annihilation Wave, actually. That would be really interesting.
That would be interesting, yeah.
Like have Annihilus come back, because they own him now after the Fox merger with the Fantastic Four and stuff. I was thinking it might be quite a nice cosmic threat to counteract anything that they're doing on Earthrealm. But yeah, anyway, I that's the only real way I would want Thanos to come back, is if they immediately pop him to show how powerful this other person is. But there you go. What I'm going to do, Zane, is I'm going to mix things up so that we don't end necessarily on a bit of a downer, because the next couple of DC bits of news I've got to talk about are a bit of a downer. But they are quite funny to talk about, so we will talk about them. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
Who's our favorite guy to talk about at the moment? The bad boy of Hollywood, Zane. Who is it?
Is it Ezra Miller?
It is Ezra Miller. So he's been at it again, Zane. So this week, it was reported by the Hawaii police that Ezra Miller was arrested for second-degree assault.
My gosh.
He was also arrested last month, also in Hawaii, for disorderly conduct and harassment. I'm not going to go into the details of the case. You can look it up. It's not great. I will immediately follow this story with the next thing that I wanted to talk about, which it came out a couple of days later because a lot of people were saying, well, after this one, surely they're going to recast now.
Yeah.
Well, it certainly doesn't look like it. According to Deadline, they've heard that Warner Brothers brass haven't been sweating the Miller headlines. He's not committed, but he's not committed to appear in any more Fantastic Beasts movies, and The Flash doesn't come out in theaters until next summer. So the pick is currently in post at the time. There are no plans to reschedule the film or move it to HBO Max. I mean, they don't care, it seems, about the impact of this. They don't seem to think it will affect things. Sure. Well, two things. Firstly, Zane, two questions to you. This must be it, right? Like we say it a lot. It's the same with politics and stuff. This must be it now. Like, this is way too far now, first of all. So he's got to be recast. And secondly, do you think The Flash will make money off the back of Keaton being in it?
Oh, man. This is a tough one. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what more he has to do to...
He's going to murder someone at this rate. It's like, what's going on?
It's crazy. I don't know how much they can just blindly glaze over it without taking any sort of action. It just looks bad on the studio more than anything.
I think considering this is, and I'm not going to go into details of this case either, but I think, bearing in mind the studio took very heavy action against Johnny Depp after the Amber Heard accusations, which at that time hadn't been proven and still haven't been proven as far as recording this is concerned. And they sacked him almost immediately. And this guy, I mean, Ezra Miller has he's, I won't do the joke I normally do, but that is recorded that he was assaulting somebody. He's been arrested for assault. He's also been arrested for disorderly conduct. I mean, how the hell is he still getting work?
And again, something I mentioned last week is Ray Fisher, rang the bell on, something terrible, and he was completely written off by Warner Brothers, like to the point where I don't think he can actually get another role in a Warner Brothers movie.
Well, no, he can't. Certainly not Warner Brothers. He's done with Warner Brothers. But other studios seem to have the stink on with him now as well. It's really sad. It's really, really sad. Just get your priorities in order, Warner Brothers. Work out what you're doing. What's going on with you?
But to answer your second question about Keaton, I think there may be enough. There's a new audience that knows Keaton from Spider-Man, and obviously there's the older audience who know him from Batman 89 and much more. So yeah, I think he may be a draw. Of course, Affleck's going to be in it, so Affleck will no doubtly save it.
Well, they'll sell at least one ticket then, won't they, Zane? Jesus Christ Almighty, God. All right. Well, yeah. Anyway, we both want to see Ezra Miller recast. Bring back Grant Gustin. That's all I say. So we're going to end on a high. Speaking of being at it again, Zane. I talked about it last week. I'm talking about it again this week. He's only at it again. Paul Bettany. He's doing it again, Zane. He's out there again, trolling the universe. So this week, so last week he was on the Stephen Colbert show. This week he's done an interview with Entertainment Weekly. Bettany made it very clear, very, very clear, that he does expect to reprise the role in the MCU, even if he's not prepared to reveal when and where it's going to happen. Would you like me to read out this fantastic quote?
Yeah, go for it.
So when he was asked, are we going to see Vision again? He went, no. The honest answer to that is, well, maybe. It's not the honest answer, but it is the answer I'm going to give you now, and you'll just have to cope with it. At the end of WandaVision, you see Vision fly off, and that's a loose end. And Kevin Feige is a man who doesn't really allow loose ends. So I assume at some point I'll be putting on my tights and cloak for another outing, but I don't know when that might be. This man is this man missed his, like, I don't know. I haven't seen his Twitter presence, but if he's not trolling the world on Twitter, he should be, because he's an absolutely toxic genius. Zane, he's going to be in Doctor Strange, isn't he? Surely that's what's coming up. I mean, the WandaVision connection is so heavy. He's going to turn up in it. I mean, surely.
Yeah. This sounds crazy, but I'm kind of besides Multiverse of Madness, I don't know why, but I can imagine him coming back as Jarvis for no good reason.
I think, and I genuinely do think this. I don't think it'll be the Vision that we saw at the end of WandaVision. I don't think it'll be the Vision that we see at the end of WandaVision. I think that Vision will be part of the Illuminati.
That's a great shout. Yeah,
I really do. Whether it's White Vision or whether it's some other variant of Vision, maybe a human Vision would be possible. You know, but the Illuminati needs kind of brainiacs. They need big brainiacs. I would be the original lineup, I think, was Mr. Fantastic, Xavier, Iron Man, Black Bolt, and Namor. No, it was Black Bolt and Namor. I don't think Black Panther was on the original lineup. And like, they haven't got Mr. Fantastic in the universe yet. I'd be absolutely shocked if they introduced Mr. Fantastic in this film. I don't see it happening. I really don't. They don't have Iron Man anymore. He's dead. So, spoilers. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, how, like, who else is there in the universe, in the Marvel universe? So there's Brainiacs. There's like Spider-Man. Peter Parker is a genius. Bruce Banner, maybe. Obviously, Charles Xavier, we know, will appear in some form, a la Patrick Stewart. But I think Vision would fit perfectly in the Illuminati. What are your thoughts on that one, Zane?
It's a great shout. Yeah, it's in a super team of boffins. It only makes sense, isn't it?
Well, I think they were supposed to be influential people of the world. I don't think they were supposed to be boffins, but yes, I get your point.
Because it's the only other way that they could probably potentially introduce a Mr. Fantastic is from the early 2000 movies, right? With Jessica Alba and
Ewan Griffith. Yeah, they get Ewan Griffith to come in and do it with his little faux grey hair. Oh, blimey. And his amazing dance moves. He did the Peter Parker dance before Peter Parker did it.
That's true.
His bendy dance moves on the dance floor. God, we all wanted to see that, didn't we? You know,
what a time.
That's what Mr. Fantastic's powers are truly made for. That and like sticking his hand under doors to open them.
That was such a marvel. Yeah, CGI hands.
I remember all the good things about those Fox movies. Do you know what else I remember about Marvel Fox movies?
What's that?
I remember Ghost Rider. And then I remember the man who starred in Ghost Rider as we segue into our main event. So
great segue.
Thanks, mate. Guys, if there was any tips and bits that I missed this week that you wanted us to talk about, then write into us and let us know. nerdsundisputed@gmail.com. You can also grab us on the gram. You can also grab us basically on Twitter. Just find us. You'll find us in loads of places. We're out there. But let's talk about the what is it? The incredible, what is it? The unbelievable weight of massive talent.
Unbearable
weight of massive talent. That was it. So I think it's safe to say that you and I have been looking forward to this movie for quite a while now.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been on our list for probably since the beginning of the year.
Yeah. It was terrible, wasn't it? I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding.
Before we go into spoilers, do we give it the rating?
Yes, it's very easy for me to give it a rating. Would you like to go first, or do you want me to?
You go ahead.
It's undisputed. 100% undisputed. So it's a weird movie, but like a really good weird movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it's not weird because it's bad. It's weird because it's like it's intentionally weird in places, and it works so well for being weird. So, Zane, give us the story if you wouldn't mind.
So the story is it's a movie based on the. I'm trying to think of the right words. So it's a movie based on Nicolas Cage and his career. What happens is a super fan who happens to be this millionaire person decides to ask for Nicolas Cage to come visit to read his script, and
his birthday party is for his birthday.
His birthday party as well. At this point, Nick in his career, he's a little bit down on his luck. He's not doing well with his family, and I guess it's dare to say it's very much like the opening of Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, but he's already divorced.
Well, yeah.
And he's not dressing like a woman.
Not yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's but once he comes to Morocco, or not Morocco, it's Mallorca.
Is it Mallorca?
In Spain. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. All right, yeah.
Yeah, things get wild. He starts to create his own script with the superfan.
Well,
and
yes, but before that, I mean, I will just interject there because they are that it turns out that the superfan and him become best friends, like absolute best friends, because they have almost everything in common. And then it turns out that he basically inadvertently runs into the CIA, who are monitoring his new friend, because his new friend is the leader of a drug cartel. So then Nick Cage starts to work for the CIA.
Yep. Yeah. As an undercover agent.
And hijinks ensue.
Absolutely.
Oh man. So this film was just fantastic. Like, so there's loads of different bits in it. I won't go through the whole plot of everything because you know, if I encourage everyone to go and see this film because it was really fantastic. So for those of you wondering how Nick Cage can basically just play himself and still be entertaining, this is a very hyper realized version of Nick Cage. So it's like basically it leans into all of the memes that have ever existed of Nick Cage and says, yeah, that's what he's actually like, when he's clearly obviously not like that. Although he is a little bit, let's be honest, he is a little bit. So, you know, there's so many parts of this film which were hilarious. Like, this is a weird kind of like action comedy that focuses on the characters. And then as you get halfway through the film, you realize that him and Harvey, his best friend, are writing of basically the film that we are watching. Like, it's it gets really meta. Like Nick Cage has an imaginary friend, which is the younger version of himself, Nicky Cage, which is like Nick Cage at his most over the top, like, woo, yeah, Hollywood, that Nick Cage, where it's just insane and it's incredible, Zane.
Which also, just on the subject of Nicky, the de-aging looks fantastic. Because he's obviously doing a double act with himself in both scenarios. But
it is interesting though, because then my brother noticed it at the end. I didn't even notice it, but Nicky Cage is credited as Nicholas Coppola, as in his real name, which is really weird. It's like, wait, are you saying that insane version of you is the real you? Is that what you're saying? So I mean, it is a lot about how he kind of like reconnects with his daughter and his estranged wife, and how he becomes a better dad over the course of the movie and stuff like that, but also his relationship with Harvey. I think speaking personally, Nick Cage is fantastic in this film. Like he's amazing. But I mean, he is playing like an over-exaggerated, crazy version of himself. But I think a lot of credit needs to go to Pedro Pascal in this movie because he's really good as Harvey. Like this, like it's such a lovely, like nuanced performance that Pedro does, where he's when he first appears, he's obviously infatuated with this guy. Like he's obviously like a mega fan, where he's just like he's starstruck to the point where he doesn't really know what to say, but then he still kind of like commands this presence because he's got all this money. And it's like this beautiful thing of him trying to like associate with like who he considers to be a megastar. There's a bit by the pool and he's really nervous about him reading his script that he wrote to him. It's just really well played by Pedro Pascal. He does incredibly well. Who was your favorite in this film, Zane?
Oh boy. In terms of who is my favorite, it's too hard to say because in so many ways it is almost like a one-man show. But as you say, without Pascal there, who is essentially the audience in so many ways, you wouldn't have the same effect.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that crossed my mind halfway through this movie is some of the sort of cinematography shots are absolutely gorgeous. Like the way they drive into the local town or city, whatever it is, in the sort of little mini sports car they had was so James Bond-like. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, the cinematography in this is incredible.
And there was another sort of shot that followed up with it, with we're walking down those those stone steps, but it was an aerial shot.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, like this is ridiculously good. It's kind of like, it's like you said, the sort of meta commentary in the movie itself of where it's, there's elements where it's like Mrs. Doubtfire. Then there's elements where it's like, a stoner movie like Dude, Where's My Car? And then
there's a portion of this where Nick Cage and Harvey they trip on LSD, and it's fantastic. It's so funny. It is so. I won't ruin any of the lines from it because you guys need to see this and just enjoy it. But yeah, God, it's funny. Sorry, go on, Zane. My apologies.
Yeah, it's just it's this weird sort of hybrid movie where it kind of changes into these different genres as it kind of explains itself. So yeah, it sounds super deep when, on the surface it is this funny movie, but behind it there is like this fantastic meta commentary about 100 years of cinema artwork and things of that nature as well,
and the nature of blockbusters versus like real cinema and how that kind of differentiates. What did you think of Tiffany Haddish in this as Vivian, the CIA operative?
Funny, great. It's
do you think she had enough to do, was my question.
Probably not.
Yeah, I was thinking that what's the other guy's name? Ike Barinholtz, I think he was in Suicide Squad as well. But there's two agents. There's Tiffany Haddish and then there's him. And I felt like they kind of had a bit of a backseat to everything else which was going on. I understand why they needed to be included. It's just she's quite a high profile actor to put in that. And I was kind of surprised that they did. But I mean, she worked with what she did, and it was great.
Yeah.
Like the scene where there's a scene where he has to break into Harvey's security camera control room. And something goes wrong. I won't tell you guys what goes wrong because it's hilarious, but let's just say hijinks and his body humor are able to be shown in full, and it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Are you ready for me to absolutely blow your mind, Zane?
Go ahead.
So, Addie, his daughter?
Yeah.
Do you know who she is?
No.
So for a minute, I thought it was his real daughter. And it was only after the fact that I looked it up that I worked out who the hell she is. That is Lily Mo Sheen. Do you know who her parents are?
No.
That is the daughter of Kate Beckinsale and Michael Sheen.
Wow.
I know, right?
Wow.
I know. When you look back, when you see her face, you could think, "Oh my god, she's totally got Michael Sheen's nose, like 100%."
Yeah.
But like, yeah, that's their daughter.
I didn't know they were together.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were. They're not together now. They used to be together, and then they had a child together, and then they split up. But they still are. From what I can gather, they are incredibly close, and they raised the daughter basically together, but like separated.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's their daughter. Which I was like, I couldn't. When I read that, I was like, oh my god, that's insane. I feel so old. I feel so old.
I wonder if she's seen Underworld with the Lycans, isn't it? Where he plays a werewolf.
That's where they met. You do real. That's
okay.
That's where they, because Michael Sheen's in the first one. He's the lead Lycan in the lead whatever the werewolves are called.
Werewolf. Yeah.
He looks really different in it, but yeah, that's Michael Sheen. He really does. Look, I'll find a picture of him. Hang on a sec.
I think that he was in the third one, wasn't he? The third one's kind of. Is it the first one?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's in the first one. Yeah, he looks so weird in it. I can't believe. I think he might have been in the. I think you're right. I think he might have been in the third one as well, because the third one's a prequel, because he dies in the first one. But yeah, let me show you Michael Sheen in. Sorry for those of you who are listening, you're not going to see this, but this is Michael Sheen in Underworld. So let me just open this image. Yes, he was Lucian in it, and I will send it to you here, Zane. Yeah, that is Michael Sheen in Underworld 1.
Let me share this.
Here is also another picture of him, if you want it. Look at that. He looks completely different. He looks very, you can still see it's Michael Sheen, because obviously it's the same facial structure. But it's like, man, he properly went full on hairy for his werewolf role, didn't he?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I love Michael Sheen so much. So yeah, finding out that was Lily Mo Sheen was his daughter, I was like, oh my god, that's amazing! Like, that's so cool. Because I did genuinely think for a minute, is it one of Nicolas Cage's kids, like grown up, and they've put, because I was like, okay, I can kind of see the resemblance a little bit, but like after finding out that it was Kate Beckinsale and Michael Sheen's kid, I'm like, oh my god, yeah, she looks so much like Michael Sheen. It's ridiculous. Like, it's like 100%. She's got those Welsh features. But yeah, so yeah, again, the daughter was like this was the Nick Cage Pedro Pascal show as far as like the movie is concerned. It really was. Like, you get like, this film is going to be memed like until the cows come home, because
absolutely,
my god, some of the stuff that he says in this film, it was just so fun. It's just so good. I can't remember who directed it. Let me have a quick look.
As you're having a quick look, I wonder how many references to his whole sort of catalogue of movies is in this, because that's, one thing that's raised constantly in this movie is his career and, references. They don't mention Wicker Man, but he does say he does do the bees line. Yeah.
I don't know. Wow, this is crazy. So this was directed by Tom Gormican. He has only directed one other thing, called That Awkward Moment, which was in 2014 that he directed that. He wrote a TV series called Ghosted, which I've never seen. So I have no idea what that is. Yeah, so it looks like he's just come out of nowhere. I mean, my God, he's going to get any... Oh, no way! I didn't realize that. Adam Scott and Craig Robinson are in Ghosted. So Adam Scott is he's the guy from Parks and Rec. He's Ben from Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec.
This is the end of the Undisputed Nerds podcast. And then Craig Robinson is... Have you seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yes.
So Peralta's nemesis, who I can never remember the name of. He keeps turning up in like... No, no. It's like little. Oh God, what's his name? That's gonna drive me crazy. Him.
Judy.
Yeah, exactly. Oh
Judy
God,
something.
what is it? I'm gonna find it. Doug Judy. Yeah, that's him. I didn't realize that was. I might have to try and find Ghosted and watch that then. If it's the two of them in it, that's quite good. But yeah, so yeah, this guy. Surely this guy's going to get any directing role he wants now after this film, because I can imagine this film making. I don't know what the opening projections were. Let me have a quick look, and see for what the film's supposed to make.
As you're having a quick Google, I walked away from this movie thinking, I wonder if this kind of opens the door to other actors doing this sort of meta commentary. Obviously, it's not like a franchise and stuff, but could you imagine like maybe like a Danny DeVito or, you know, dare I say a Will Smith, like doing something similar where...
Oh my God, I hope not. I really hope not.
But a Danny DeVito one, for example, you know, kind of referencing everything back from like Twins to Matilda to like, could you imagine something along those lines?
I guess so. But the thing is, right? Nicolas Cage is so meme like centric before this film came out. I mean, you think of some of the absolute, like, we literally, you and I have a segment on our show dedicated to the weird things that he's done. Like, he, you know, and like, again, I'll say it again. There's something very, if this comes back to haunt me in the future, I really hope it doesn't. So please be a good boy, Nicolas Cage. But like, he's one of the few celebrities where we can look at his weirdness and be like, oh, he's still a really good person though. You know, he hasn't done anything like, because you look back on certain weird people like from the past where you're just like, oh, that hasn't aged. You know, Jimmy Savile, for example. Oh, that hasn't aged well. Shia LaBeouf, yeah, it's not aged well. Ezra Miller, oh, that's not aged well. Anyway, but like Nicolas Cage, it's like, oh, it's just Nicolas Cage. He's great. Oh, we love Nicolas Cage, and he's a Hollywood legend, and he's been around for over 30 years now, and he just keeps producing funny stuff, whether he means to or not. You know, like there's a sensation of caging at the moment where they just slap stickers on his face on random things. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. There aren't any. So the film literally came out today, as of recording this on the 22nd. So there aren't any box office grossings or anything. However, there were pre-opening grossings of 835,000. That's good. That's very good.
Yeah.
For pre-screenings, you know, that basically means that they paid up front to go and see this film. So bearing in mind, this film is not the fanfare of like a Sonic the Hedgehog 2 or a Fantastic Beasts or anything like that. You know, it's very good news. One thing I did want to bring up with you, what are your thoughts on this weird trend in films lately? And The Matrix was guilty of it as well.
Okay.
Of casting and having Neil Patrick Harris being a main cast member on the call sheet, and then him appearing in the movie for about 5 minutes. What are your thoughts on that, Zane? What is it that Neil Patrick Harris has that he could just be like, yeah, you can pay me $5 million to be in a movie as one of the headline stars, and I'll be in it for 5 minutes?
I guess. Is it a type of casting? Because he plays the manager who's kind of like this, you know, organization sort of, dare I say, like dick, you know, sort of thing, like egotistical sort of like corporate guy. Like that's his role in The Matrix. That's his role here. That was his role in How I Met Your Mother. Like.
Okay. Yeah, I guess so. I never. But I just think it's weird how he always gets billed as like a headline star, and then just like he's not even in it.
But he's a fan favorite, isn't he? Like again, because of How I Met Your Mother, and his various Spider-Man projects in the past, like he is a draw. Like people do enjoy.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. It's just it's just a weird. I guess that is what it is, isn't it? It's the name value, isn't it, attached to him? Because of How I Met Your Mother. There's a there's a string of there's a string of docuseries kind of things called The Film That Lit My Fuse. And it's like it's a Deadline video series. And they're basically, they talk about like essentially Hollywood and flipping it on its head and stuff. The reason why I bring it up is today the subject of today's one is Nicolas Cage. So covering his bizarre behavior and also his movies and stuff. So if you guys are looking for something interesting to go and watch, Deadline is doing a quick Nicolas Cage roundup of his films and stuff like that. So I didn't realize he was in Valley Girl. I didn't realize that was it. Again, what I really do like about this film as well is like some of the films that they mention are some of the most niche, bizarre films that you could possibly think to mention. I mean, what's the one where he's protecting the president in the first lady in the White House? What's it called? That's gonna drive me crazy. Hang on.
I'm not sure what it's called, but the weird obsession of Paddington 2 that came out. I wasn't quite sure if Lionsgate were kind of like trying to re-promote that movie or something.
I don't know, possibly. It may have been because so up until very recently, Paddington 2 was one of the 3 films on Rotten Tomatoes that was 100%. And it was it was this film. So Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Last time I checked, I don't think it is anymore, but it was at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. So was Paddington 2, and then Toy Story 2 was also 100%. So it was one of those 3 that did it basically. I'm trying to find Guarding Tess. That's the film I was thinking of. Guarding Tess. That's the one he cites that Pedro Pascal in the film. Pedro Pascal bonded with his dad over Guarding Tess because they had nothing else in common apart from their love of Nicolas Cage movies. But we see that, and we also see like a clip from The Rock as well, like within the first like 5 seconds. Oh, and Con Air as well. Con Air's right at the beginning of this film.
It's the opening of the film.
It is the opening of the film. Yeah. Oh my god. This is just amazing. So yeah. Anyway. This film is brilliant, guys. Go and see it if you like quirky comedy, bizarre, fun, like mix of like action, character development, and all these other kind of things. It's really, really good. Do you have any final thoughts on it, Zane?
No, I don't think I do really. It's a fantastic love letter. Not only to the acting career of Nicolas Cage, but again to cinema as a whole, believe it or not, and the genre. But it is just a funny film that anyone could watch, really, which is nice and refreshing. Like you don't need to see 19 different Marvel movies to understand it. You don't have to have seen a Star Wars movie to understand the lore. It is just a nice, refreshing movie to see.
That's a very good point. It's very easily consumed standalone on this one. So yeah, go and see it, guys. I'm going to be going and seeing it again next week with my wife because she's going to love it. There's a comment in it about somebody having a very large head, and that's basically my shtick. I've got a moon for a head, so she's gonna love it. But yeah. Cool. Well, guys, if you have seen The Unbearable Weight of Acting Talent, tell us what you thought of it. Did you enjoy it? Did it tweak your Cage counter? Did it make you go full Gone in 60 Seconds, or would you much have rather have had a bit of a Ghost Rider with it and just left it alone? What do you think, guys? What's your opinion? Zane, how can they get in touch with us?
You can get in touch by leaving a comment down below, believe it or not. So drop a comment, let us know what you think. Of course, as Gigi mentioned, we're on all the socials. Check out our Facebook page. It's been doing really well lately. Be part of the conversation there. Of course, you can find us on Twitter at Nerds Undisputed, as well as Instagram, Undisputed Nerds. Of course, all of these will be linked in the description down below.
Yes, they will. You can reach me at Instagram on at Gentlemanly Gamer, on Instagram. I'm also on Twitch occasionally, twitch.tv/Gentlemanly Gamer. Come and say hello. Give me a chat. Give me a follow. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week, because we've got a bit of a lull week, and then we've got Doctor Strange, haven't we?
It's very true. Yeah.
We were going to do a tier list of video game movies at one point. Do you remember that?
I think so. Yeah, I think we were.
Yeah, I kind of want to do that, especially after hearing about Streets of Rage. I want to introduce you to World of Double Dragon, starring Robert Patrick, the T-1000.
Oh no!
Peacemaker. I still haven't finished Peacemaker yet as well.
Oh, actually, neither have I. We could do a mini review on Peacemaker. It's something that's been missing from our library.
It is. I don't know whether it's a bit too old for it now, but yes, we could do that. We'll talk about it offline. We'll come up with something, guys. Don't worry. Don't worry. This kind of hot content is not thought of at the last minute. most of the time. All right, guys. Zane, it's been a pleasure.
Likewise, enjoying every episode, and you can too by going to undisputednerds.com.
Oh God! Right, on that weird plug, we'll call it a day there. Thanks very much for listening, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Ciao.